At the end of the Second World War, the Swedish armored forces consisted of tanks equipped with either 37mm guns or short-barreled 75mm caliber guns. The only vehicle with possible firepower was the SPG PVKV M43. 87 units were produced in 1946. But the sustained development of tanks in the post-war period quickly rendered this vehicle obsolete. This marked the beginning of a relatively long and arduous testing phase to select a new tank for the Swedish army. The British Centurion Mark III was ultimately chosen as the most suitable successor. In Sweden, it was given the designation Strv-81, as it was the first combat vehicle in the Swedish army that had an armament exceeding 80mm in caliber. In War Thunder, the Strv-81 is joining the ranks of British premium vehicles. The Strv-81 differs from its line counterpart in its additional armament in the form of 3 first-generation ATGMs. The tank's primary weapon remains unchanged, an 84mm Ordnance QF 20 pounds Mark I rifled cannon, with enough armor for 65 shots. Available armor-piercing single-piece shells, APCRs and high-explosive fragmentation ammunition. The gun has highly convenient vertical aiming angles and good ballistics, so you will have no difficulties hitting the target. The gun is paired with a 7.62mm BESA machine gun. The Strv-81's additional armament comes in the form of 3 French SS-11 anti-tank guided missiles. In the Swedish army, they received the designation Robot 52. The missiles are attached on open launchers in the right side of the tank's turret. Each missile weighs 30 kilograms, with a warhead weight of 8 kilograms. The armor-piercing characteristic of the ATGMs amount to a whole 600 with a direct hit, meaning the tank can take out any armored target in the War Thunder. The vehicle's armor is by no means formidable, only 76mm on the frontal upper and lower sections of the hull. But the good sloping angles enhance the armor's performance and increase the chance of ricochets. The hull sides are covered in 6mm thick plates, which can take impacts from high explosive and heat shells. The main armor underneath the plates is 50mm thick. This means that you need to really look after the hull, especially considering that the armor rack is located at the front of the vehicle. When it comes to the turret, thankfully things look much brighter. 152mm at the front and another 152mm under the gun mantlet. The 650 HP engine is capable of producing a maximum speed of 35 km per hour going forward and 12 km per hour going in reverse. This medium tank isn't going to be breaking any records, nor does it particularly exceed at quick flanking maneuvers, but it's fast enough to support an assault or swiftly respond to a breach. The crew consists of 4 people: the driver and his best friend the armor rack in the hull, and the gunner, commander and loader in the turret. If you want to avoid the risk of having the armor rack ride by the driver, only take 33 shells into battle. In this case, all the armor will be on the hull floor, which will seriously increase your survivability. Robot 52 missiles are the first-generation wire-control ATGMs. In the War Thunder, the difference between first and second-generation ATGMs lies in the way the missile is controlled in flight. With first-generation ATGMs, the player can control the missile in realistic and simulator battles via the movement keys. Arcade battle players won't see the difference between the generations. All guided missiles in this mode are controlled with the mouse via the tank sight. The launchers are positioned at an angle so that the missile travels upwards at first before gradually dropping and leveling out after around 230 meters of flight. Only begin correcting the missile's trajectory after this point, at least while you are still getting used to this type of weapon. Please note that in arcade battle, targeting is performed using the aiming reticle and not using the ballistic marker, cross. In all battles, the missile will stick to its set course unless you choose to change it. It will go where the crosshair were pointing when it was launched. In realistic and simulator battles, the tank cannot move while a missile is in the flight, due to the guiding system used in first-generation ATGMs. As the ATGMs are fixed to the external launchers, there is no need to reload between firing. You can launch all 3 missiles with a 1-second interval, but if you do this, only the final missile will be guided. The first 2 missiles will simply fall on the ground. Conversely, if you have several enemies at the ATGMS drop distance, you have a chance to give them a nasty surprise with the multiple missiles. And before you ask, yes, you can fire the guns and launch missiles at the same time. The difficult part lies in controlling the 2 weapon systems simultaneously. In RB and SB, you can attack 2 targets at once by launching a missile at one and firing your gun on the other, preferably with the first target remaining stationary. You can correct the missiles if you need be, although in that case your skills must rival those of a level 100 colonel. In battle, the Strv-81 will be a solid average tank, no more no less. Its handy and accurate gun is comparable to the Tiger's 88 cannon, and its excellent targeting angles make it possible to take advantage of counter slopes of hills, making you a difficult target for return fire. Its average mobility is more suited for maneuvers in the center of the map, supporting an assault or organizing a defense. The ATGMS make you more able to take out careless snipers at long range or strike at heavy armored targets that are too much for your main gun. However, it will take time and practice to fire the ATGMS, and they won't be effective on all terrain types. The frontal armor can take a hit from a range of guns, but the tip of the spear is no place for the Strv-81, and virtually any strike on the sides or the rear will be fatal. Given this, the STRV driver should carefully select his position and monitor the vehicle's exposure. You can read more detailed information about the Strv-81 and the Centurion Mark III in the War Thunder Encyclopedia.